What's the very first thing that you notice?
It's like ancient, sandy, ancient, like you see in the movie stuff.
Say that again?
Sandy, it's sandy, like Egypt, ancient, Babylonian, maybe?
Okay. And what do you notice as you look off in the distance?
It's just dry. And all the buildings.
What are the buildings like?
They're the columns. There's just the buildings with all the columns in front of them.
And are those far away or close to you?
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Nice. As you bring your focus closer to where you're at, very close around you, what do you notice then?
There are people walking about with robes on.
Tell me more about the people. What are they like?
They kind of have like a shepherd's hook with them, too.
You see, with shepherd's hooks?
Yeah.
Okay.
The white gowns. The white hood. The white over their head, too.
Oh, interesting. Do you get a sense of why they wear it over their head?
I think it's because of the heat. They're dark-skinned. It's just really dry, open land, sandy. It's mostly guys. I don't see any women.
Mostly men?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to bring your focus to yourself. When you look down, do you see your feet?
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Okay. And do you wear anything on your feet?
Sandals.
And describe what the sandals are like.
They just go over. There's 2 straps over my feet.
So they
over the top of my feet.
Okay. They don't go up the leg?
No.
Okay. And then as you go up the body, tell me what you're wearing there.
I am a male too, and I have the same thing on. I got the white robe, dark skin.
Is there a belt around it, or does it just hang?
Yeah, I have a belt.
And what does that look like?
Rope.
Rope? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you notice any jewelry or ornamentation on your body?
Gold comes to mind right away. Gold wrists.
And do those ornaments around the wrist, the golden ones, do those have significance?
Yeah, that's why I'm standing here and they're walking over there.
Oh, tell me more about that.
I'm watching them.
And why do you watch them?
I guess I'm ruling them. They're all kind.
Tell me more about what they're like. What do you mean by all kind?
They're all saying hello, going about their business. I'm just standing here, greeting them and watching them.
Nice. Does your body feel young or old?
Probably 30s.
And does your body feel healthy or not?
Yes.
So tell me more about how you spend your time, what you do during the day.
I'm in front of the main building. I'm governing the people.
And how do you do that? What's your job? What's your specific role?
I see I'm meeting with others about what's going on in the city. the markets.
Do you get a sense of what you talk about?
How the markets are doing in the shops. It's almost like just making sure everybody's doing everything accordingly and safely, keeping everybody safe.
Nice.
Yeah, it's making sure everybody stays safe and everybody does like they're supposed to do.
Do you like what you do?
Yeah, everybody, we're all about treating each other well and respecting, and yeah, it's a really good environment. It's the love that's and the respect that everybody gives each other. It's serving, yeah, everybody's serving each other so happily.
Oh, that's nice. You said everybody seemed happy to see you and they were saying hello.
Yeah, and yeah, everybody just loves to be there and serve each other.
Why do you think that is? Has it always been that way?
Yeah, everybody's just, it's just because it's about love. It's about just truth and love. And everybody just praising each other and appreciating each other and helping out when others need help.
Oh,
It's a real community.
sounds very harmonious.
Yes, that's perfect word.
All right. And anything else going on there that day that you noticed?
Well, we're just talking about, who might need help or who's doing really well, and if anybody wants to help another. Anybody sees somebody that's, they band together when they see somebody that's struggling to help them.
Just a natural thing they do?
Yeah, because everybody's watching out for everybody, so they're just reporting to me how so-and-so needs something, so we're going to go help them.
That main government building that you said you're by, can you describe that more?
It's nothing fancy. It's just part of the environment. It's just like all the other buildings. But it's the center where we meet.
Nice. Okay, so let's do this. Let's leave that scene that you're looking at. Let's drift and float to where you live, where you eat and sleep at in that time that you're viewing. Drifting and floating to where you eat and sleep at, and now you're there. Tell me about that. What does it look like?
It looks like all the other houses.
Can you describe it for me?
I have a wife. It's like a one-bedroom house. It's it's so sandy and dry and desert-like that it's just like everybody kind of lives the same way.
So all the homes are quite similar?
Mm-hmm.
When you go inside yours, what do you notice there?
It's very simple. We just live a real simple life of just being.
And do you live close to others, or are you guys out on your own?
Oh, yes. There's houses down the street all the way around.
And your wife, tell me what she's like.
She's very kind. She keeps up with the house and she helps other wives. And she helps other children. We don't have children, but she helps others with their children. She's very involved with the other women.
And can you describe what she looks like?
She's got long brown hair. She's not as dark as I, but she's dark-skinned too.
Nice. All right. Anything else going there at your home that you notice that you want to mention?
No, we just all live alike and in harmony.
Nice. All right, well, let's leave that scene you're looking at. Let's drift and float to an important day in that time that you're viewing. Day when something important is happening, and now you're there. And what do you notice?
She's having our baby.
Tell me more.
It's a boy. She did very well.
Everybody's doing well?
Yes.
And what do you think about having a son?
I love it because this is a great place to be with family, and we're all family. But to carry on with the love and the harmony.
And so, what happens next?
We just keep doing what we're doing. She's going to stay at home and take care of him, and I'm just going to check on the markets again every day. It's just the same old, but we have our time for our child now too. Everybody's super happy coming to see him. It's a whole community celebration when somebody has a child.
Oh, and she's been so good helping other moms with their kids, and now she gets to have one too.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Must make you very proud.
Yes.
What is he like? What's his personality like?
Yeah, he's inquisitive. He's busy. I think he's much like me.
How is he like you?
Just wanting to see and do everything and be involved.
As he grows, do you teach him things that you know?
Yes. Yeah, he's kind of, even though mom takes care of him as he grows, the children grow. There's no real schooling other than the community and learning from each other the traits of life. Watching how people do things and finding out what you're interested in. People's livelihoods and hobbies are what make the community really thrive.
That's amazing. So everybody seems to do what they love to do?
Yes. Yeah, and it's also accepted and needed because everybody needs something that whatever else is doing.
Right. All right. Well, let's leave that scene you're looking at. Let's drift and float to another important day in that time that you're viewing. And now you're there. And now what do you notice?
It's a sad day.
Why is it a sad day?
Not sure. Everybody around is sad and crying.
Oh no, tell me more.
Not sure. I don't know what happened.
Are you inside or outside?
Oh, it's me. They're all looking at me.
Oh. And why are they looking at you?
I think I died. I'm just laying there.
You think you died?
Yeah, I'm just laying there. And they're all standing around.
So what
outside.
happened to the body?
It's just there.
So let's do this. Let's leave that scene. Let's go back in time just a little bit before the body died and find out what happened. We're going back just a little bit, and now you're there. What's going on that day?
I was just walking to the central building, to central where we govern, and I fell.
Do you get a sense of why you fell?
No, I'm done.
Wow, okay. And the people are looking at you, but you're gone now.
Yeah, my
And what
body's
is it
just
like to
there.
be not in that body any longer?
It's confusing because I just fell and now and everybody's crying. It was a happy life.
It's just time to be done, though, it sounds like.
Yeah. Weird.
All right, now whatever has happened has happened. You've left that body drifting and floating away back to the other side, and now you're there. And from this perspective, you can look out over that whole entire life and that amazing community, know and see everything that was important about it. What were some of the lessons that you learned in that life?
The lesson was to take part of life, take part of sharing, partaking in the life, the community, supporting others. And being supported.
And being what?
And being supported.
Being supported, right. It's a nice, even exchange, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And every life has a purpose. What would you say was the purpose of that life?
Well, the purpose was to be the example and uphold the gifts.
And what were the gifts, would you say?
The gifts were acceptance and support, upholding the love and the truth of each and every person.
It's beautiful. Is there anything else about that life that stands out to you that you want to mention?
It's like it was just the perfect place to be.
Now, you're back on the spirit side. Take a look around and describe for me what it's like there.
Well, I'm with some peoples, and I wonder why I left so quickly.
Before we find that out, tell me about the others. What are they like?
There's about 5 others. There's 5, 6. We're just sitting around a table.
And what do they look like?
Light, white light.
And is your form like theirs, or is it different?
It's the same. We're just light.
Nice. And so, do you ask them, why did you exit so fast?
Yeah, we're just together.
And so what happens next?
That's all I was meant to be for. That was just for that short time. To show me that is possible. That is yeah, like it sounds weird, but like I'd never had a life like that before, so they showed me that.
Oh, interesting.
And because it was so perfect, I didn't have to stay there very long. It was just to prove the point that there are communities that are big that support each other and love each other.
It must have been just a wonderful experience all the way around.
Yeah.
And now that you're back on the other side, what are you going to be doing?
I don't know, we're talking about it. I that's funny because I didn't want to go there because many lives were not like that, and I didn't want to do it again. So this one's really hard to grasp because it was so easy.
Oh, the harder lives seem easier to grasp.
Evidently.
It's kind of like a vacation life.
Yes, very much a vacation life.
And you think you learned everything from that you needed?
Yeah, because it was just to show me that it does exist.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, now that you're done with that life, do you check in with the wife and the child from that life, or do you let that go?
I let it go. It was an agreement.
An agreement, okay. And they're learning what they need to learn through their own experiences with you leaving?
Yeah, that was agreed upon.
Okay. Very good. So what do you do next? Are you resting or learning or?
I am really trying to grasp that because it's just not my normal.
What is more your soul's normal lifetime experiences like?
Drudgery.
And what do you learn from that?
It's I don't know what I learned, but it's no fun. That was such a cakewalk. That was so perfect. Who knew?
How does that change you now, having that almost opposite experience of such an easy life?
It gives me hope. It makes me feel bigger.
All right, so let's do this. Let's leave that scene you're looking at. Let's drift and float to another appropriate time and place, drifting and floating to another appropriate time and place. And now you're there. And tell me what you see around you.
Purple. It's just purple.
Ooh, is it like a light or a bright purple?
Amethyst. Dark amethyst.
Ooh, tell me more.
I think I'm in an amethyst cave.
Is it little or big?
It's big.
Nice. Tell me more about what you see around you.
Oh, it feels so good. There's just all this amethyst everywhere. It's this tunnel.
A tone?
A tunnel.
A tunnel. And are you there on your own, or are there others with you?
I'm by myself right now, but there's some elementals.
Oh, tell me about the elementals.
They're like little fairies. They're funny, they're cute, they're little.
What do they look like?
They have wings,
Oh,
little wings. They're lit up. They're busy. There's a lot of them.
what are they doing?
Like they're polishing all the points or the rocks. This is so huge, and they're maintaining it.
They're maintaining it. Wow.
The tunnel. It's...
Do you get a sense of why you're in that amethyst cave?
No, I'm just loving it.
I bet. Well, let's bring your focus to you there. When you look down, do you see your feet?
Yeah, they're little round shoes. Like, I feel like I'm a gnome.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, we are taking care of the land.
Tell me about those shoes.
They're like little rounded shoes. They're just funny little feet. They're tiny little, they have a strap up at the ankle. They're tiny. I'm just this little fat gnome. I'm as square as I am big.
Are you bigger than the fairies?
Yeah, because I'm as square as I am big.
Okay.
But the fairies are probably half my size. There's a lot of us.
Are there others like you?
Yeah, there's some more like me.
Okay. What do you wear on your body?
I have pants on and a buckle. Oh, this is funny. It feels so good in here. It's funny.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. And then what do you wear on the upper part of your body?
I have a shirt on with my sleeves rolled up like us gnomes do the work and the fairies polish the stones. It's just so fun. Oh my God, it's just funny.
And so what type of work do you and the other gnomes do?
We're helping push the stones up. We're moving the dirt around them for the fairies to polish and kind of moving them up from the depths.
Oh, interesting. Why do you do that?
Who knew gnomes could be so powerful?
Oh my goodness. Tell me all about that.
We just keep moving the dirt. It sounds weird because we're moving the dirt around these rocks, and it's what it does as we move the dirt, it pushes the rocks up for the people to find.
Oh. So you're helping the people discover the amethyst?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a huge unending tunnel, and maybe it's so huge because we're so little.
Right. And then as you're moving the earth up and the stones up, then the fairies go and they polish all the points?
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Because they're so light. They're so light that they just touch them. They're so lit up that they just instantly, it's not work for them at all.
Oh my. And how do you think the amethyst reacts to all that?
It is so thankful because it's maintaining the earth grid. And as we push them up and they clean them, it helps them connect with the others around the planet. Who knew?
Who knew? Right.
It's funny. It's just fun and funny. We have so much fun.
So tell me about how it works with the earth grid. That's so interesting.
Because we're moving the dirt, and therefore the connections are being made from the points as the fairies are polishing. It's like when the fairies polish, they just touch them. I don't even know if they're really touching them, as there's so many and they're so magical that they're activating as they. You see the light, and the rocks, just each point just lights up.
Oh my gosh. Do they stay lit up?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like beams, laser beams. But it's not chaotic at all, because as they light up and match up, they carry on. And there's other gnomes in other areas doing the same thing. So these beams are shooting across and catching up with the others. And they just go through each other. They just connect.
And that affects the energy of the earth?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the gnomes and the fairies that are assisting with this work. Are there other types?
I only see the gnomes and fairies in this. because I'm a gnome.
Right. So let's do this. Let's leave that scene you're looking at. Let's drift and float to where you live, where you eat and sleep as the gnome. Drifting and floating to where you eat and sleep, and now you're there. And what is that place like?
Wow. It's not not a hole in the dirt. It's another crystal.
Oh, tell me about that.
It's quartz. It's just quartz. It's it's a quartz bed. The fairies must have already cleaned it up and activated. It's. I don't need a lot of room, and it's got the points all pointing down, and it's flat on the bottom for me. It's not very big. It's really nice.
And it's just the place where you lay down at? Or is it the place that you...
Yeah, it's a resting place. I don't even know that we eat.
Sure.
It's just such a great place to be that who needs food?
Right. You've got everything that you need with the energy?
Evidently.
Nice. So when you lay down on that beautiful, cleaned, and activated crystal, how does that change or affect you?
It's just like a balancing, energizing, and it's weird because I don't know that we even sleep. I just don't think we sleep. I think it's funny. We just keep going like the Energizer Bunny. There's just, who needs sleep when you live here?
Right. So what is the rest of that area like? Is it all just the cave, the tunnel, or do you go outside?
We don't go above ground. No, we're all in, it's just unending tunnel. And like right now, we're all in this amethyst. We've been pushing up the amethyst with the fairies, activating the grids. There are other types of rocks that get activated too.
Oh, what are those like?
I'm seeing calcites, blue calcite. There's a lot of calcite too. I'm not sure how that works. It's a different structure.
Do you and your gnome friends work with those?
I'm watching some others work with it. That's why I'm watching, because I'm not sure how it works, because we just push up the dirt. And
what do you notice about what they're doing?
it's like they're activating it. It's not fairies. It's not gnomes. They're beings of some kind. They're not much bigger than the fairies, and they're working with this calcite in the structure of it. Interesting.
Do you get a sense of how that changes the calcite?
It's not that it changes it, it's that they're activating it because it's a different kind of structure than the points on the quartz and the amethyst.
And those are the two that you tend to work with?
Yeah. We're just pushing them up.
Do you communicate or interact with the other gnomes that are working with the calcite?
Not right now. We're just watching because it's different from what we do. It's like they're banding around it. Some kind of banding. Not in a bad way. Like they're holding it in, holding the energy in it.
Oh my. Do you get to ask them questions?
Yeah.
What do you ask?
We're asking why they're wrapping it and banding it, and they said because it's part of the activation to hold the energy in, so it's more focused.
Oh my. What else do you learn?
Well, I'm asking them what they use it for.
What do they tell you?
Well, we're asking if it's part of the grid, and they're not answering us.
Oh.
I think we're interrupting them.
Oh, they're in the middle of their work.
Yeah.
And so what do you decide to do next?
Well, we're really curious. We're waiting for them to tell us. It's more focused.
And what happens with that focused energy, I wonder?
It's focused up. That's why it's banded up, where up out of the earth, and the amethyst and the quartz is in the grid.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder why.
So when the energy of the calcite goes up, how does that change and affect things?
Like it's clearing the air, clearing the environment, uplifting. Huh. Okay.
That's interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting.
Do you learn anything else from them?
They said there's others like it that they're working with across the globe. They're different energies for different purposes.
Had you been aware of that?
No, because we were just having too much fun. We just came across these guys. We were really focused on what we were doing, and they're kind of in our way.
Does the calcite grow close to where the amethyst is?
Yeah, it's right here. So it's almost as if we need to go another direction or wait for them. I don't know if that's going to get pushed up. They're not telling us. It's because they're really making it focused up out of the earth. Huh, okay.
So what do you guys decide to do?
Well, we have to work, so we're going to just go back, but we'll go another direction.
Gotcha.
As much as we'd like to see what they do with that, we can't see it.
And you stay under the ground anyways, right?
Yeah, we're getting closer to the surface, though, with it, because that's the whole point.
Right. You want people to find the amethyst?
Yeah, and help activate all the grids.
Have you ever been around when somebody found the amethyst?
No, because it's just so funny watching the fairies activate and clean. It's really an amazing thing to watch.
Tell me more about that.
Because it's so magical and it feels so good. It's funny. It makes you feel light and funny. The dirt feels really good too, though. That the dirt we have to move it has a really good feeling.
Interesting. Is it almost like it has its own consciousness, or is it different than that?
Yeah, like it does have its own consciousness, but it mixes well with the rocks.
I see.
And it's a really good light. It helps to keep the energies clean in the rocks for the fairies to activate. That's what we're doing.
So do the gnomes communicate with the fairies?
Not that we communicate, but we know that we have to do this for them to make their job possible. Because they're the ones. We just push them up and keep the soil in a high vibration. That's why we laugh so much.
Okay, yeah.
And that keeps the soil, the dirt, at a high vibration that helps them activate these rocks. This is so cool.
That's
And then to see the beams shooting, it's not chaotic at all. Them fairies really work magic. And we're not lesser than them because we work the magic with the soil.
right. All important components, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And so then what happens after that?
We're trying to figure out how much is left for the entire planet. It's so close.
So close?
Yep.
It's close to what?
Done.
Oh, can you tell me more about that?
There's so little left to do. It's as if that's why, because we're nearing the end, and that calcite, that's why they wouldn't talk to us about it, because it's the end.
Oh, explain that.
It's all around the globe. That's the final point. The final activation.
And what happens once the final activation has occurred?
That's the purge. That's the purge.
Okay.
That's what the blue calcite's purging. Any residual. That's why they didn't want us close, because they're really important.
And tell me what you know about that, what you call the final purge.
It's like any density. It's just they're letting go of the little bit of the density left on the planet. That is why that's why it was roped off. That's why we were at a distance.
And explain that one more time, why that was?
They were roping it off because it was the final purge. The energy wasn't a match for us. They didn't want us to be affected by that energy.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like grasshoppers. They look like grasshoppers now.
Interesting. And they can take that energy?
They're moving that energy up and out. You see how long the grasshopper is? They're up against it, and they're like they banded around it.
Wow.
Yeah. Huh. That's why they're bigger than the fairies.
And the fairies, they do or don't work with the blue calcite?
No, it's the grasshoppers. The fairies are working with the quartz and the other rocks of
Wow.
higher
So now
vibrations.
now that you know all of this, what do you do next?
You know, it's like our work is almost done now. Because once that is done with the grasshoppers, the connections are all made.
And what is it like then?
Lit up. The whole planet's completely lit up, completely merged. It is in alignment. The solid alignment.
And what happens then?
It's harmonious and peaceful. It's just clean.
Nice.
The vibration, it's like that low vibration is the last of it. And the grasshoppers are directing it out. Wow. In our own little world, we witness this.
Wow. Go ahead.
It's huge. It's big. It's meaningful.
Yes. Does it feel like you've been doing your work for a short time or a long time?
We've been doing it for a long time, but there's so many of us. So many of us. So many around the entire planet. It's like these tunnels do meet up. And all these points that the fairies activate and clean perfectly align.
And you're saying you're about to the end of that process now?
Yeah, that's why we come across that calcite that the grasshoppers are activating. that's it. Once that's, I'm not sure that they're going to move it up and out, or if it's just part of the final cleansing. It's the purge of the last density.
Nice.
And then the harmonious connection is made.
And so will you be around during all of that?
Oh, yes, everybody's going to be around. This is what we've worked for.
Nice. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go forward just a little bit to the exact time, the exact moment where that experience occurs, and just describe for me what it's like for you.
The final purge?
Yeah, and when everything's complete and everything's in alignment.
We all surface. We all surface.
Oh, and what is that like?
That is so fun. Everybody is so happy. It's a huge celebration. The grasshoppers are jumping all over.
What is it like on the outside?
Fairies are flying. Well, it's bright. It's beautiful. Gosh. It's magical. It's breathtaking. The energy is just so great. I wasn't aware that there was that negativity, but they kept us from it. They kept it from us. And we weren't even aware of them until we came upon them. Oh, that was funny because we never seen them before and couldn't make them out.
Why would they keep it from you, do you think?
Because of the density in it.
Was that not good to be around?
No, not for us.
Okay.
No, they roped it off to protect us. We weren't allowed to get close. They didn't want us tainted.
Okay. Wow.
This is so big.
And so what is life like for you after this great alignment?
We see each other now. We see everybody. We see everybody. I mean, because you feel like there's just a group of us working on it, and there's groups all over like us.
Everybody doing their part?
Mm-hmm. And now everybody can see everybody.
Oh my gosh. And so are they all elementals like you and the fairies? And
Yep. Yeah, we're just surfaced all over the globe.
and what will you do now that everything's in alignment?
We'll still uphold the energy because it's all on the surface now.
And so how will your job change? What will you be doing differently to uphold
It's
the
almost
energy?
like we're guarding still all of the stones in the rock kingdom. We're still going to maintain all of that. Minnie is up.
And the fairies are still doing their job?
Yes.
What did they think about being up on the surface?
Mm-hmm. They're mesmerized by as much as we are. There's like all the grass and trees and butterflies, birds. It's kind of foreign, but it's so beautiful.
Are there people? Like humans or no?
Not yet. It's really wide open.
Wow. If you wanted to travel to a place, can you do that or do you stay where you're at?
Yeah, it's like we instantly go where we want to go to see these connections.
So where do you choose to go? What is it like?
We're just exploring. It's nice that wherever you go, you're there just by thinking it.
Oh, that must be amazing.
Yeah. And it's harmonious.
Do you go as a group or individually? Or both?
Both. Sometimes we go together. Depends what we want to go check on and go see and meet.
So what's some of your places that you love to go to check on and see and meet?
The mountains hold some really nice vibrations and some rocks. We can go right in the mountains.
And what is that like for you?
It's so easy to just go in there and check the rocks. See how close they are to surfacing. Maintain them. The fairies will still work in there too.
Okay.
And they can come in and out. Wow.
Sounds like quite an adventure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Easy to just go. What a job.
What a job is right. All right, so let's do this. Let's leave that scene you're looking at. Let's drift and float to an important day in that life. And now you're there. And what's happening now?
It is a big celebration.
Oh, tell me all about that.
It is just so many people. It's almost chaotic in a good way because it's such a celebration. There's humans too.
Oh, what are the humans like?
They're big. They're big. We have to be careful and fast.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Are they aware of you?
I don't think so, not yet, but they're celebrating something too. Everybody's really happy.
Oh, what are the humans celebrating?
I think it's the energy. They're really happy about the energy. They feel really good. You know, some do see us. Some are seeing us.
And what do you think about that?
It's okay. They won't step on us then.
Okay. You stay moving pretty quick?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so tell me more about what's happening at the celebration.
It's so much happiness. I don't even know. It's just so many people are out. It's so busy. They're just all happy and talking to each other. Wow. It's just so happy and peaceful.
And so what do you do throughout the celebration?
We're just really watching it. We're super happy because the grids are all aligned. And we know it. I don't know that they know it.
Do you visualize the grids, or is it more of a knowing?
Both. We can see, but it's more of a the grounded into. It's that we just ground in and sense that everything's connected and everything's finally done. Everything's perfect.
What was the purpose for getting the grids all connected?
The purging all the negativity.
Nice.
That the grasshoppers really worked hard for that.
Are the grasshoppers at the celebration?
Mm-hmm. They deserve to be.
Yeah, they did a lot of beneficial work, didn't they?
Yeah.
Do you chat with any of them?
They keep to themselves, I think, because of what they do, what they've done. They're like guards. We're just like maintaining and holding, and they're guarding.
Okay. So they're still kind of on the job?
Yeah. Just making sure everything stays. So they're not real communicative because they just need to focus on what they're doing.
Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
once everything's stabilized, they'll probably be really fine.
And what does it take to get everything stabilized?
I'm not sure because we feel like it is. So I'm not sure why the grasshoppers are not sure yet, but maybe just because they've been on guard for so long.
Nice. And what do you think, what was it like for the humans before all of this happened?
They were so not happy. They weren't even aware. They just barely existed.
And all of this great work that all of you did to help bring up the frequency and connect the grids, this has completely changed their perceptions of things?
Yeah, their energy and their outlook. They don't, some see us, some don't. And those that see us are going to help the others see.
Do you think for them, did it feel like a fast change or a slow, gradual change?
It was slow. They were slow. Some still don't quite see it, but they're happy. They don't know why they're happy.
Oh,
Some do know, though, and some do see us. And the ones that see us are helping those. Are helping those to see too.
do you communicate with any of the ones that can see you?
Yep. Yeah, they're talking to us.
What do you share between the two of you?
Well, we're acknowledging the work that we all partake in to bring this on, to make this happen and uplift the energy for everything and everybody, for the planet. Mm. It's community work.
That's beautiful. Anything else about all of that you noticed that you want to mention?
They love the rocks. It's almost like the rocks are peeking out. They're up to be seen.
They want to check it all out too, don't they?
Yeah, and the ones that know, that see us, they know that that's the reason the rocks are up to be seen, because they're helping for people to awaken.
Nice. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. Let's leave that scene. Let's drift and float away back to the other side so we can ask some questions about this amazing lifetime. Drifting and floating away. Now you're on the other side. As you look over that experience as the gnome, what were some of the lessons that you learned in that?
The magic. It was so fun to work. It's just funny because it was so magical. It was fun and magical.
What else did you learn?
Oh my God, to be magical, to just, even though, it was work, but it was so fun. The dirt felt so good. It was maintaining that healthy environment and helping to push up those rocks for the highest and greatest good.
Amazing. And what would you say was your purpose in that life?
Awaken.
Beautiful. Anything else about that experience that you want to mention?
Even though it sounds like work, it was so fun. It wasn't work at all.
It's the way to do it, isn't it?
Right? It was so funny and fun to watch the fairies and the dirt. Who knew that it was so easy to push rocks up from dirt?
Right. Oh my goodness. Doing great. Okay. I know you could have brought forth many different lifetimes for her to see today. This last one that you chose, oh my goodness, as a gnome, why was it important for her to see that life?
Because it made her laugh and have fun so much. She never laughs anymore.
And why do you think that is?
She's not happy.
What do you want her to know about that?
Maybe she should play in the dirt and have fun.
Yeah, I think that would bring back some of the joy to her.
Maybe if she goes digs up rocks herself.
Say
again, she should dig rocks up again.
Dig rocks up, okay. When she digs rocks up again, what do you think she'll find?
Her magic will come back. She does like rocks. They talk to her.
Yeah, she mentioned that. What do you want her to know about the rocks talking to her?
She has a real connection with them.
Is it through this lifetime that you showed her, or is it many lifetimes?
This one was shown because to remind her of how much fun it is and how much they really do communicate, that they bring her laughter.
Perfect. I just have to ask, I mean, it sounded like the work that was happening is what is needed on the planet right now. Is this a concurrent life, or was this in the past, if we were on a timeline?
It is a timeline.
Can you explain that?
It is what's going on right now.
That's amazing. Can you give us some more information about how that happens in a concurrent timeline?
We're just showing her because she's connected to the rocks. And it is almost done. It's completed. It's purging the density from the planet.
And is that what we would see as the chaotic experiences on the planet right now?
Yes, that's why you're seeing it, because the grasshoppers were purging it from the center of the earth and from the planes in the earth and the grid.
Wow.
So the grasshoppers are important, as well as the gnomes and the fairies.
Yeah.
Everything is important. We just don't realize how important everything is because we're so busy.
Right. So, what do you want her to know about her connection with all of that and where we're headed in this great, amazing time on the planet?
We're already there. It isn't where we're headed. We're already there. This purging, it's just the dust has to settle now. It's purged. It is a better place already. But it doesn't look like it because it's a spiritual war that needs to just finish dusting off the residual negativity that's still trying to hang on.
And so how does that very final piece play out?
Oh, it's done. It's just they're trying to hang on and they cannot because the elementals and the people and the galaxies, everybody's working together on this. And that little bit of density, it's like those who scream the loudest are the least. And that's the truth right now.
Wow.
Everything is done. It's just them getting on. You know, actually, it's about transforming that purge, giving them the opportunity to transform themselves and transform from the negative to the positive. They've been lost for too long.
And so what is her role in all of this?
Like the gnome, just holding, connecting.
Was she aware of that before this session?
No, she doesn't know anything.
Oh, okay. Well, tell her as much as you can because she wants to learn about what she's here to do, and as much information as possible will help her with that.
She has just surviving is so much work for her. That we get her attention time and time. But we work through her with her, especially in her sleep.
What happens in her sleep?
We remind her to ground herself too because she's good at grounding. And when she grounds, she's just moving the energy with the gnomes.
Oh, wow. So she's doing the work concurrently again?
Yeah.
Easier for her to do it in
Maintaining
her sleep.
it, yeah.
In her waking state, what does she do to help that she may not be aware of?
That's when we remind her to ground herself, to run the energy. Sometimes she's too busy to even think about it, so we really have to get her attention.
How do you do that?
I think when she gets in a low spot, it's easier to remind her that she's here to do this, or to get her attention, to just ground and run energy and think on the better things or the lighter things. Because she's just not happy where she's at.
So do you think in the timeline that she's on in her awake state, this great the knowing that we've made this jump into this perfect alignment of the grid, is that going to occur in a time frame soon for her, within the next days, weeks, years?
Yeah, I think after she listens to this, she's going to know that she is more than she thinks she is. And she is stepping into her power. And that's making a big difference too, because this connection is really going to awaken her to her truth.
Wow. And then what will her life be like after that?
She can choose to do what she wants to do.
Well, that's going to be a wonderful change, isn't it?
Yeah, she needs to do something that she enjoys. She just...
All right. Thank you for that. Now, you started off by showing her this ancient life. She thought it was Babylonian or Egyptian. Everything was in harmony. People supported one another. It was a real community, she said. Why was it important to show her that lifetime?
She has had so many lifetimes unlike that she did need to see that, because she needs to be reminded that not everybody's against her. There are people that are for her and with her.
She did say in this life it does feel like she's always having that challenge of people pushing against her.
Yeah, she just... There is something about... There's just this life, she's just had chosen rejection after rejection.
Talk to her about that, about the rejection. It just seems to be such a key part of this life.
Well, it's just that it is so key in this life, because it's just... She just dived right into it by being born. But she signed up for it because she needed to get her power back.
Okay, so the multiple times where she's felt the rejection is a tool to get her power back?
Yes.
Tell her more.
Yep. From victim to victor.
Okay.
She was rejected, but because... And really it wasn't the rejection. It was more the wake-up lesson.
Wow. Okay.
Because it just took that much to get through to her.
Do you think she's learned that now?
Oh, yes.
She doesn't have to have that rejection anymore?
No, but she needs to just find a way to let it go, because it's not who she is now. She's stepping in her power. She's not putting up with it anymore. And so as soon as she stands up for herself like she's been doing, all that rejection's going away. But she has to stand up for herself.
And so give her some understanding, some tips of how she can do that in her highest and best way, standing up for herself.
Keep doing it. Just keep owning your power. And don't let others take advantage of you anymore. Don't let others tell you that you don't know what you're doing. Don't let others put the spoke in the wheel for you. Don't take them serious. That's their rejection.
It's powerful, isn't it?
That is. That's her daily reminder. They only have power over her when she gives it to them. They are no more than her.
Anything else about that lifetime that you want her to know more about?
Just that there is such a thing. And it's right around the corner for her, actually. She's really close to it. She is so close to it.
And tell her what that's like when she turns that corner.
She'll know it. She'll see it, and she'll be so happy because she's really hit a low that she just was like, locked herself into her own little bubble.
Why did she do that?
Tired. Didn't care.
And what will be the thing that gets her to move past that and get around that corner?
Her power. She's going to own it. She owns it, and she's not going to have it. It's like she would take, if somebody said something to her, she took it. She owned it. She's not doing it anymore. It's given right back to them. It's like there's a wall there that just lets them. It's not going to affect her anymore. She's not going to take it on. She knows better.
So this is like a 180 from when her friend told her that she might not be good enough for him?
Yep. Yeah, because, and that's what she needed to hear, because even though she believed that, it is what woke her up to know that she deserves more and she is worth more. And she just doesn't need the rejection anymore. If somebody thinks she's not good enough, that's their projection. That's not her. She believed it because she was that low at that time. She's done a lot of work, and she's not that person anymore.
She can just let that be in the past, right?
It is the past, and
Right.
she knows it.
Right. Oh my goodness. Very good. Thank you so much for all of that. Well, as you know, she came into the list with kind of a small list of questions, but I think we can get a lot of information from them. And would it be okay to start with those?
Yes.
Would it be appropriate to ask for a scan of her body?
Yes.
So please start scanning her body. Tell me where you're focusing on for healing and repair. We do expect full and complete healing today.
All right. We're going to work at the top and work our way down.
Great. What do you see at the top?
There's just such disconnection.
In what area of the body are you looking at?
The brain.
Okay, and tell us everything you're noticing there, please.
We really need to reactivate because of all that she has given up and taken on. It just kind of, it's like the wires are just laying loose. They're not even really connected because they're just done. But we'll go ahead and reconnect them.
And it's so fascinating to hear how you do your work. Can you explain as you're reconnecting how that's being done for her?
It's interwoven. You know how this is really interesting because you know how a wire will break and you need to splice it back together?
Right.
That's what we're doing to her.
And how do you do that?
Jeez. There's just so many like neurons that just need to be healed. Her brain, I don't know, there's just something that...
And that's all happening for her right now?
Yeah, she
had mentioned when we were talking earlier that she feels like she just can't think clearly and fast, and...
This is why, because all of this rejection and all of this time she shut down just made these brain waves sag. So we're really just tightening them up, activating again.
And so how will she feel differently after the session because of all of that?
She's going to know that she's much more alert, much more aware. We're going to activate them all again for her because she really will be so much more aware of who she really is.
You said you are activating all of them?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Is she feeling anything as that's happening?
Yes, her head is vibrating.
Nice. So she knows the work is happening.
Yes. And we're at the back of the skull down towards the neck.
And how is that area looking?
It's okay. The occipitals, they're a little off, but we'll adjust them.
Your whole brain's getting a whole new tune-up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good she's here.
Yes. Oh, we're so happy to have this work done on her behalf. Are you done with the brain?
Yep.
And where else in the body are you focusing?
There is a lump on her arm.
A lump on her arm?
It's a bunch of excess energy.
Okay. Is that right or left arm?
Right.
And so what is the root reason behind that excess energy in her arm?
It's like it just gathered there. It's been there for quite a few years. We're just going to release it all.
Nice. And she'll notice what?
The tension will be gone in her arm. It's between, right down from her shoulder.
Oh, that'll be nice.
It's vibrating. We're vibrating it right now to make her aware.
And she'll notice that the lump is no longer there?
Yeah.
Excellent.
It may take a day or two for it to disperse, but we're dispersing all that energy.
Why did the energy get stuck there?
She had other work done. And it was body work. And when he moved her tendons, it just stopped a point right there.
Oh, nothing intentional, just
Right.
it just needs to be released now.
Yeah, and it is releasing.
Nice, okay. And where else are you looking at?
Her liver.
Okay, and what do you see going on with her liver?
It's kind of full. We're just gonna release some energy from it.
What causes the buildup of energy there?
I think it's all her past anger,
Okay, and tell her what she needs
frustration.
to know about that.
We're letting it go. You know, it's not a lot because she has done some work, but there's just this residual spot that she did go to the doctor one time for her gallbladder, and they never found anything. But it's like it's just blocked energy that keeps taunting her. So she's done a lot of work, and it's just this little piece that we're going to take care of for her.
And how do you do that?
Again, we're just going to disperse it. It's much like her arm. It's like it's just a blocked spot. It's just blocked from the anger that she was withholding.
So what do you want her to know going forward so she can maintain that clearness and she doesn't accumulate any more anger there or anywhere?
Oh, she's worked through it, so she just needs to keep grounding and running the energy, and she'll be fine.
Okay. Perfect. And are you done there?
Yeah.
And anywhere else you're looking at?
Her hip.
Okay, she mentions that. So that she's had some issues there since her second pregnancy?
Yeah, her first pregnancy.
First pregnancy.
It's really off. It is. It's not in the right place.
And what's the root reason behind that issue?
That was the shock and trauma from her ex-husband.
When he sat her down?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a memory that just hung out there and just kept nagging. It's a nagging memory that she's thought she's let go of, but it's going down and out.
What will she notice
Holy
because
cow.
of that?
Oh, that'll be a big relief. There'll be more motion.
More emotion?
More motion in
Motion.
her hip, yeah. The chiropractor has to adjust it every month, and it doesn't really help, but it's, yeah, there's a, again, stagnant energy. Just got to disperse it, and it's moving. That's an old one that really way too old, needs to go, and it's really going down and out the back of her leg. She can feel it too.
Oh, nice.
Whoa, that's going.
That's beautiful. She'll really appreciate that, won't she?
She'll have more flexibility now.
No more anger in that area.
No.
No more trauma.
No, it's going.
Perfect. Okay.
All those memories.
She doesn't need to hang on to that at all.
No.
All right. Anywhere else?
Her knees, you know, it's just her insecurity of where she's at right now.
Tell us all about that, please.
She just feels so insecure hating her job that she's just weak in her legs, her knees, her hips.
And so tell her what she needs to really understand about that.
This session is going to strengthen her like she has never known herself to be.
Oh my gosh.
People better look out. She is.
She'll be supercharged.
Yeah, she's a warrior. And she's ready to stand up for herself, but she's going to. And she's going to know who she is, and she's going to just start being her truth. Her light is just getting brighter as we do this. There's just
perfect.
She's lighting up.
So the knees are from insecurity. It's mostly about her job. Weak in the knees, you say she needs to stand up for herself.
Yes.
So moving forward, when she does all that, what will she notice differently about her knees?
Things will go so much better for her. You know, it's not just about her knees, because her knees are her knees are about because she hates her job. She hates survivalism. When she came here, she could care if she lived or died, especially because she's seen the other side and it was so peaceful.
Right.
So she really has been living as if she really doesn't care if she lives or dies, because it doesn't matter, because she just hates surviving.
She wants to thrive.
Yes.
So you're giving her everything she needs today so that she can see it from a thriving point of view?
Yes, and she's going to thrive.
That's amazing. It's a huge transformation from walking in the office to leaving today, isn't it?
Yeah, she's not going to see it so quickly because it's subtle, but she's going to know it. It's going to give her the weekend to rest up and acclimate, and she's, holy smokes, you just look out.
All right. So how are the knees looking now?
They're fine. We just had to get that energy out.
She also asks about teeth, gums, dry mouth. What's going on in that area of her body?
She just doesn't express herself. So, we can help. We're going to heal all of that. It's all pent up energy because she just didn't express herself for so long. And now she's starting to, but there's a lot that she needs to express.
So how can she do that in a healthy way for herself?
Just talk, finally. Somebody will listen to her. She'll find the right persons.
She says when she tries, especially about the different modalities that she's learned, when she tries talking about it, she feels like she's rejected over and over and falls on deaf ears. What do you want her to understand about that experience?
Again, those are all about not taking on other people's beliefs and projections because of their jealousy or their issues. Those were jealous people.
How can she find the people that will resonate more with her beliefs and her passions? She says she doesn't really have any passion.
This alignment is changing it for her. She's getting so aligned that it is clearing out her energy field, that she will start gravitating and attracting like-minded people who will support and accept her.
She'll love
and
that.
her doing likewise. This is changing her energy so much, for subtly so much, because It's more about self-acceptance and projecting it and being it.
It will change everything for her, won't it?
It will change everything because she's learning, but she's, given up so many times that it's healing it all now. And yeah, she's gonna be really happy.
She can be like the gnome, being so happy doing what he was doing.
That's why we showed her the gnome.
Very comfortable and accepting in his own skin, isn't he?
Yeah, he had so much fun. And that's what she needed to see, because even though he was moving dirt and it looked like work, he loved it. He loved it. They loved it. They had so much fun digging and playing, and it was great energy. And that's where she needs to go.
All right. Well, and even the other lifetime that you showed, I thought it was a brilliant statement where she said, as people decide, I guess, what their roles or jobs do, they gravitate to what kind of like what their hobbies are, what their passions are, instead of, taking what we would call a 9-to-5 desk job that, doesn't satisfy your soul in any way.
Yeah, and she was the governor. She managed the people so well. Everybody loved her. That was a perfect life for her, and she's just never thought that she's ever had that. We had to show her that it is possible. She's been there, and she is worthy.
Was that place on Earth or another place?
Yeah, it was in Egypt.
In Egypt. Wow. Must have been a very, very peaceful time there.
Mm-hmm. That's why we showed her.
Beautiful. Okay. She mentions she feels like she has tension in her high heart area. Can you take a look there?
That again is all that pent up energy that's gone. She's good. We just keep moving this energy out of her from top to bottom, and she's grounding it for her, with her. It's just all these little tiny blockages.
So all the blockages are being dissolved?
Dissolved and dispersed and filled with the light.
And she maintains that best by doing what?
Keep the energy running through her. She can run the energy. She just doesn't know how good she is at it.
How does she do it in the best way? Let her know that.
Is just to open the root chakra, connect to the grounding cord, and open the crown, calling in that energy to flush. She doesn't flush. She just lets the energy flow. That's the difference, because it can flow, but when she flushes, it cleans out all these little pockets that have built up and caused, and the little residuals.
So flush first and then flow with the energy?
It can flow, but yeah, flushing will get every space and particle.
Okay.
The flow is gentle, and the flush is cleansing. She doesn't flush. She just flows. So she needs to cleanse the negativity. It won't be much of an issue anymore because she's really much brighter now.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
But she should flush too, just to maintain it.
Okay. She mentions that she's asking about her eyes. She wants her vision and eyes improved. She does not want to wear glasses anymore. What's the root reason behind the issues with her eyes?
Well, sometimes you just don't want to see what you need to see.
Right.
And there was a lot of things that she really didn't want to see. And therefore, it's made it difficult for her to see.
So what does she need to understand about that to let that go and let the eyes come back to their alignment?
It's safe to see everything because it's all for the highest good. Everything you see is safe. It's all about growth, acceptance, and observing. Not taking on others' projections. When you see people act in a certain way, don't take it on. Don't don't take it personally because you see it. That's where she just would take everything personal, everything she sees. She's very sensitive.
Does that help her or not help her?
Both, because she's so sensitive, she knows when people are being negative and they don't know she knows. But she just, that's again part of that rejection. Because she senses it and she knows it and they're not acting like it, but she knows it and she sees it.
And the
So it's
rejection-
confusing to her. So therefore she's like, well, what did I just see? Instead of trusting what she really feels. So it distorts her sight.
So an example maybe would be her boss giving her that invitation for
Yes?
kind of almost the wrong date.
Yeah, the condescending. She caught the tonation, but she didn't catch it right away. It was afterwards that she realized that it was on purpose, that she and it honestly, it was nothing personal. It's that her boss knows that she's not outgoing and she's not a people person. So it wasn't pressure on her. But she knows that then people think she's weird because she just comes to work, does her work, and leaves. She doesn't interact with them because she senses their judgments.
So it's almost like a self-preservation thing to just come in and leave.
Yes. Yes, and it affects her so much because that's what makes her not like it. People judge so much, and it's interesting because it's a very hidden judgment in that place. It's not outspoken, but it's weird.
Okay.
It's unhealthy.
Anywhere else in the body that you want to focus on before I go to her list of questions?
No.
All right, and you're still working with the eyes, or are they
Yeah, the right eye's still getting a little bit of work.
Do you anticipate that she won't need her glasses after this?
If she wants to see clearly.
Sounds like she does.
Yeah.
All right, then. So you kind of touched base on this really interesting experience where she says she pierced the veil in her sleep, but then she heard somebody yelling her name and wanted her to come back. What is important for her to know about that? She saw those beautiful golden lights, but then her name being called over and over. What was happening there?
Yep, she was out of body. And she physically died. It wasn't her time. As much as she wanted to go, it wasn't her time. We couldn't let her go because this is her work. She, like we said, she's not aware of what she's doing. She's been a good grounding. And she came here to do this. She didn't have a clue. And she just wanted out. And we couldn't let her. So we called her back. It was her soul family that she's seen. They were all there. She wasn't supposed to go there.
Okay.
And she tried again.
Yeah, she said she has had
She didn't get that far. We didn't let her go that far. We yelled at her.
So that was you yelling at her?
Yep. Yeah, I did the male voice. I yelled and yelled and yelled. It took a lot of yelling the first time. She really didn't want to. She was in awe, and it's so peaceful that she didn't want to, but she needed to come back here to do exactly this because that gnome job is basically what she's doing with their energy.
Oh, it's a very, very important job to do.
Yes, she signed up for this, and she wasn't getting out of it, even though she didn't understand. That's what she's doing now. She knows.
Oh my goodness, that solves a huge mystery, doesn't it?
Oh my God, and these were all just lessons for her that she's finally coming to grasp with. She's done a lot of work, and we have been with her, and she knows many times she has consulted with us. Melchizedek came to her. She's had many guides, and Jesus has come to her.
What do you want her to know about those experiences that she may not already?
They come to her to show her that she is loved and supported, and she does have help. She does have the support, even though the physical beings were not supporting her. We were here for her. We are here for her. And she knows now. We're connecting much better today after we tightened up all those, her brain. With all that brain work, she's more attuned to us, more aware, and in better communication with us. She, as much as she wanted to communicate and understand us, she couldn't, because she just had so much, like, the brain went lazy from all of the trauma. I don't really want to say trauma in a victim way, but from all the times that she just didn't get her lessons, that she just went back for more.
Oh.
Ugh. She doesn't do that anymore, which is why she put herself in the cocoon. But now that everything's aligned and fixed, she'll resonate so differently and so much healthier, that it won't be about being rejected anymore. And we're going to help her with, she's so aware of negative judgments. I mean, she's so used to them, she could spot them without even looking. She knows they're there. And so we need to tweak that so they don't affect her anymore. And we're going to do that now, so that she can just observe and let go and not take on those judgments, and realize and remember that that's them, that's not her.
Oh my gosh, she'll feel lighter just from that.
Well, yeah, it is much lighter, because she has taken on way too many other perceptions.
Beautiful. Thank you for all of that. We talked a little bit about her job and not being happy with what she's doing. She does ask, what can she do? What's the best advice?
She has taken so many classes with energy that she could do whatever she really wanted to focus on, but it's going to take, it's a learning skill, because everything she's chosen to take, she hasn't been able to do any focus with. It's like she learns it and then doesn't know what to do with it.
These are like all the energy classes that she's taken?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's taken a lot of classes.
And why can't she focus on it?
Survival. She's just so, the bills need to be paid, and nobody supported her, and that was then and this is now. She will find, she can start putting herself out there, and she does feel more comfortable that she can start offering things to put herself out there, whether it be Reiki or more QHHT for her level 1 to finish that.
Because she'd like to take the level 2 class.
She would, and she loves one-on-one work. That's what makes her happy.
So she'll have more focus after this to be able to put that type of work into motion. Do you see her stepping back from the jobs that she has now that she's not real happy with, or will she stay with those?
She will run from those as fast as she can. But she's going to do this. She's going to. I'm not sure. She's learned so many things between energy and rocks and healing that she's probably going to do her own thing. She just doesn't know how she's going to put them together, because the rocks do talk to her.
That would be fascinating, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Could she do like readings with the rocks for people?
healings for sure, because, the rocks just talk to her.
Oh,
So it's a matter of her believing it and taking the time for herself to perfect it.
all right. That's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, she needs time.
So you may have just kind of answered this question. Her next one is about having no passion in anything. She says help.
Yeah, I think she did lose a lot of interest and passion in herself. But the rocks really do talk to her. She probably will realize that the rocks and the energy work and her hands have a lot to offer, especially with the energy that flows through her and to her and her guides. She has so much at her disposal that she could do wonders with.
Anything else about that you can share with her to help her get herself prepared?
Keep flushing out the residual negativity that's and the probably maintaining her boundaries, not taking on other people's projections. And actually, she needs to find the time, the alone time. She needs alone time to really perfect this stuff. She can't get away. She can't go anywhere to do anything. Work, work, work. Survive.
But that's in the
She
past.
works all day, and then she has to come home and work at night to do the bookwork for her husband's jobs. And then she has to clean the house, and then she has to, it's just, she's exhausted.
So what will her new schedule be like now that she doesn't have to do the survival and she can thrive?
It will be way more happier and way more acclimating for her, because she'll have time to do what she loves, which will be working with others in this arena, helping others. They'll come to her because her energy is different now.
She asks about self-sabotage.
Yep, that was her life. She wanted to learn all this stuff, but she took it as self-sabotage because she couldn't put herself out there due to all the past rejection. It was a lot of self-sabotage, but again, it was more about the lessons of not taking on other people's stuff. She just was like a sponge. She grew up and took on everybody's projections that said anything negative about her. She just believed them. It wasn't a healthy environment, but it's what she needed to strengthen her, because she needed to stand up for herself.
Perfect. All right. She asks about some very interesting dreams, and then also the scents that she smells. She says often, and this is sometimes outside of the dreams, just in places like her workspace. She says it smells like an ancient smell, like a dungeon. Can you expand on what that is for her?
That is to do with that first life we showed. Really, it's reminding her that there is acceptance and support. And that job she referenced he is accepted and supportive. He's a very nice guy. There is no judgment at that job. And that's what she needed to see. She was understanding it, that maybe it was about moving on, and it's not about moving on. It's about remembering there is acceptance and support. And it's us that are accepting and supporting her. But now that she has seen that life, it's a lot more powerful for her.
All right. And she asks about the dream where she was at work and there was a secret door in between two rooms. Something about St. John's water was in that secret room. Let this pass here just for a quick sec. Can you tell her what that dream in the secret room was about?
clearly it was about religion. She has lost faith in religion. She was not brought up in religion. And she has gravitated towards spirituality, and she felt really bad when she tipped over St. John's water. She felt like that was very, very, very important because of St. John being the Baptist. Not that it's not important, but the spirituality is way more important than the religion. Because there's different religions and they all have their own meanings, but the spiritual is the most important. So it was okay. She felt so bad when she tipped that box over, not realizing that was within it, but that was to wake her up to realize that her spirit is important and she is connected to her spirit too.
Okay, so she had gotten up on the table in the dream. She had knocked the box, and that had this St. John's water in it. And that's what you're referencing?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's like it's okay to let go of the religion, but the spirit is more important.
Perfect, thank you. And where the dream where she was taking deep breaths, can you tell her more about that?
The dream of deep breaths.
She was told, take a deep breath.
Oh yeah. That was with the Galactics.
Oh, tell her more about that.
That was, again, she was really looking forward. She was trying to become more intuitive, but she was so shut down that we had to give her some light.
And that taking a deep breath helped bring that light in?
Yeah, because she was so shut down. That was the only way we could get the light in her.
Oh my goodness.
She was so shut down.
But she's moved far beyond that, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just to help her continue on in the spirit with her, just to wake her up to be more attuned, to know that she is connected to her spirit.
Okay. And we talked, this is just amazing, because I think this is probably tied into that second lifetime as the gnome, but she had the dream about sweeping up the final purge, and she wasn't sure what that meant at that time.
That was her working in the astral realm right now. Right now.
Concurrently working in the astral realm?
Yep.
Tell her all about that.
That she does this a lot in her dreams. She vaguely remembers them, but she's having a lot of these dreams right now that she is doing work out there and helping, assisting in all of this awakening and activations and clearing. She has done so much work, so many battles that she's exhausted, but interestingly enough, she's a pro at it. And this is so easy for her to do now, because it is like nothing compared to the battles she has fought in other times, galaxies, lifetimes. This is, much that she's just helping clear the residual up.
Nice. Wow, she's got a big understanding about all that now, doesn't she?
Yeah, it's all coming together for her.
Is there anything that she didn't ask today that you wish she would have?
She just needs to stand in her power and believe in herself.
And she really has, with her husband, has started to do that. It sounds like letting him know what she needs and needs help. Or is there anything about their connection that would be helpful for her to understand?
It is better. It's way better, but she needs to carry on and she needs to not let go or not let up because he's still in that traditional mindset, which she was too, that the husband works and the wife takes care of everything else. Well, she's been doing it all. And he has to do some too, and he knows it. And he's gotten much better at it, but she cannot let up with him.
All right. And when she came here today, what was it that you hoped she received from the session?
Everything she's getting. She needed this because she didn't believe in herself. She needed this healing. This healing was really important for her to carry on. She needed this more than she knew.
Wow.
She was curious and she loves this stuff, but she needed it.
So the timing, was it perfect for her?
Yeah, more than perfect. It was like spot on.
She had to wait a year to get in, but that timing was okay?
It was definitely okay because the time that she has grown from when she made the appointment to this is perfect for her to understand it and not have to carry on with any further pain, and it's all in the past and she knows it.
So I'm curious, from your perspective, with the virus issue that we're all dealing with and the crazy political stuff that's going on and just the explosions in Beirut and all sorts of wild things that are happening on the planet, what do you see? How are things going?
That's the sweeping up of the residual negative. They have no power anymore.
They being whom?
The negatives.
Okay. And what happened to finally take out their power?
The planet has so much support. People are waking up, and we are with the people waking up, and the planet and the galaxies, and everybody's working together. There's so much outside help. We're surrounded with so much love and light. Everybody is counting on this, and everybody knows it's done, and it's a final purge. This little bit of residual last-minute stuff, and people are going to be so happy. Just like the gnomes when they came up on.
Right, came up to the surface.
That was shown for this very reason, because this is what is happening.
Wow, and she'll see this in her lifetime?
Yes, everybody will.
Nice. So everything seems on track for where you're at, looking at it?
Yeah, it's a smokescreen. All these things that are going on are false flags, smoke screens, just things to keep people in fear, and you can't buy into it. Don't buy into the fear. Don't buy into the fear, because the light and the love is already won. It's already won. Don't fear.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so powerful to let go of the fear, isn't it?
It is powerful, and that's what she was sweeping up. There was so little, and it's still being swept up. She's just helping.
Wow.
It's so minute. Don't let the fear even give you a second thought. It's all smokescreen.
That's amazing. Oh, we're so excited to be here at this very momentous time in history.
Mm-hmm.
She chose to be here at this time, didn't she, for all this great work she's doing?
She did. Even though she wanted to escape, she'd have missed all this. That's why she was told, we're on the cusp of something big. This is the big.
That was her first awakening, she said, was hearing that we're on the cusp. Can you tell her more about why she heard that then and what exactly that means?
That was her. That was to wake her up, but it was so. That was me getting in touch with her to say, listen, things are changing. As much as she wanted change, and it's been a long time, but it has to go slow. And it's not going slow anymore. It's time. Everybody's ready. There's the few that aren't going to wake up, and they're just going to have to stay behind until they can wake up.
So is that why this year of 2020, everybody's just like, holy heck, what's going to come next? You know, because it just seems like one huge thing after another. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. Yeah, because it is. It's all this last purge.
So,
And there's no fear. It's not fear. It's the negativity that's being purged. We pushed it all up. The gnomes pushed it all up because it has to be pushed up and out. And it's being witnessed now. And you have to just watch it and let it go. Don't take it on.
okay, saying in the observation role.
Yes. Yes. Observe and keep your boundaries because and don't take it in.
Do you get a sense of the things that we'll be observing in the next couple of months?
It's still hectic. It's going to be hectic. There's a little bit left. Not a lot. There's a little bit left. And then it's like the Great Awakening. Everybody's just going to be in awe.
Awesome. All right. So just sit back, help each other, help ourselves, and
Maintain the love and light. Hold it up and bright because that's what's bringing the density out. It has to be brought up and out. And that's what she's doing. Even, she's taking it on, and it's not about her. It's about her releasing it and helping it to be purged. It's been brought to her attention, and she took it personal, but it wasn't personal. It was for her to know that she's here to do this and get it out. Like many at this time.
right, yes. Everybody's here to do great work, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. And they are. That's why we're at where we're at. This smoke screen is nothing because what's beyond it is the best thing ever.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that gave me chills. Cannot wait. All right. Let's go back over her body. I just want to check in to make sure everything is healed. Everything's looking great for her. How is the brain looking now?
It is better.
All the connections are back together?
Yeah, there's no slack no more.
Nice. And the right arm, that excess energy, how is that?
Tension's gone.
Perfect. Her liver?
Yep, it's just good.
And the hip, how is that?
A lot more flexible for her.
All that old stagnant energy from that first experience in the marriage is done?
Yeah, she's going to have some waves of residual releasing, but it's pretty much moving out.
Why do those waves of residual need to be experienced?
It's just like right now that's going on. It's purging bits at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's been there that long.
Yes. And her knees, how are they doing now?
Better. She can stand straight now.
Good. She doesn't have to have that insecurity and she can stand up for herself?
Correct. Yep.
Beautiful. And the teeth, gums, and the dry mouth, how is that?
We're healing that. It's going to take a while for her gums, but the dry mouth is definitely going to be better for her.
And she can express herself now?
Yeah. Yep.
It's all about communication in that area, isn't it?
It is, and she'll start communicating so much better. And her energy is different now, so she will be able to communicate with like-minded people again.
And again, how is her energy different now than it was when she came in here today?
It's much brighter because we flushed out a lot of the density and the stagnant little things that she has taken on from others that are just blocking her and attracting more density and projections and judgments. Like attracts like, and she was holding on to everybody's judgments.
Oh, well, that's not good. That's in the past.
That's in the past, and it's flushed out.
So on the topic of flushing, we talked about the high heart. How do you see that now?
That was because she was just holding. She was not open enough, and she is now. That was too closed down.
And good for her before she runs the energy through to just do a good flush of any negativity that she's holding in the body?
Yeah, that's good for everybody.
I would say so. Oh my goodness.
Flush and flow.
Okay, flush and flow. And how are her eyes doing now?
They're good. They're much more balanced.
And she can be accepting of everything she sees. She's safe to see everything now?
Yeah, she is.
And so for her, the best way for her to maintain her beautiful body in its highest and best way going forward now is to do what specifically?
Keep the energy flowing, maintain her boundaries, believe in herself, and keep loving herself.
Perfect. Okay. All right. How often would you recommend that she listens to this recording to get the most benefit?
Well, she needs to listen to it every night, every day, right now, for probably a week, and then a couple times a week, just to really take it on and let this, because it is going to activate so much in her.
So explain that to her. When she listens to it every day or night for a week and then a couple times a week after that, how specifically does that affect and change her?
It's strengthening her. It's reminding her and strengthening her. And actually what it's going to do is help her maintain all of this that we did today.
Nice.
Maintain, strengthen, and activate. Remember.
How can she know her connection with you the easiest? If she has a question and she wants to ask herself, what's the best way for her to do that?
Ask. She's right there. She knows I'm right here now.
Good.
We are this close now. We are one and the same.
Perfect. You're always there, right? It's just hard to.
She just never thought so.
Right. Wow, this has just been so beautiful. Thank you so much for all of this information you've given her. Is there anything else that you want to share with her?
We are one and the same.
Nice.
We're much closer than we've ever been.
How has it been speaking through her today?
Much easier than it's been in a long time. There's been a lot of times I couldn't get her attention, and now we are like two peas in a pod.
Sweet. And so for you, what is this experience of this session like?
Finally. See, there's many times that she's just wants to connect, and yet she just doesn't take the time because she's just too all over the place. But we've adjusted so much in her that she is more focused now. So we can communicate so much clearer now.
Oh, I love that.
She's going to too.
Well, it has just been a joy to share this experience with her. Thank you so much for showing her those amazing lifetimes and answering her questions, healing her body. It's just, it's wonderful to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.